Do you ever wonder what happens to us when we die? Well, if you're younger, you don't think about it because you're going to live forever. But when you get a little older, you start thinking about these things. Well, I know what happens to us when we die. Stay tuned. Joe here. Thanks for visiting Road Trip Joe, and thank you for watching. Okay, how about a quick Lucille update, huh? All right. So my goal the last couple of weeks was to, start doing some demolition work, and I was only going to tear out the rotten wood, right? Well, it turned out the whole front end of it was rotten below the windows, as you can tell from the photos. So what happens to you when you die? Well, there's some people that think when you're dead, you're dead. I have a lot of friends that believe that. That's it. Game over. Then there's some people that think that there's an afterlife and all these things happen to you. You're either reborn, or you're reincarnated like into a chicken or a worm or maybe a nice plant. Then there's some people that think you go back to heaven or to hell. Heaven's good, and you're reunited with some old, long lost relatives. Well, that's fine too. There's a couple of relatives I'd just soon not be reunited with, the long lost ones. Unless they have therapy up there, then I could take advantage of that maybe. It's possible all of these things might happen to you. And we'll get to that in a minute. Let's check out the science first, okay? Medically speaking, death happens in two stages. The first, clinical death, lasts around 4 to 6 minutes from the moment a person stops breathing and the heart stops pumping blood. During this stage, organs remain alive and there may be enough oxygen in the brain that no permanent damage occurs. This is usually when you have a near-death experience. You see the tunnel and the light, or maybe even yourself. The second stage of dying, biological death, is the process by which the body's organs shut down and the cells begin to degenerate. Sometimes they can bring you back, sometimes they can't. And eventually, poof, rigor sets in and you're stiff as a board. So far, there is no scientific evidence that there's an afterlife, and that's where religions step in to answer all of those questions for you. Not sure where they got it, but they're pretty good at selling it. Okay, the big religions first. We probably already know what they say. Christians believe that after dying, spirits are sent to heaven or hell depending on your earthly behavior. For Protestants, it's either one or the other. Catholics, though, believe in the idea of purgatory, a place between heaven and hell where sinners go to repent for their wrongdoings. And you can sit there for a while, it seems, kind of like waiting in the lounge at the airport. The Islamic faith teaches that Allah will raise the dead on the last day, a date only known to Him. On this day, He will judge all souls and send them to either paradise or hell. So, there must be a few people who have waited for a pretty long time. According to Buddhists, spirits are reincarnated into new bodies until they achieve enlightenment. Upon doing so, they exit the mortal coil and reach nirvana, an incomprehensible, indescribable, inconceivable, and an unutterable place. I kind of like that one. Very mystic. There are some mentions of an afterlife in the Jewish faith, but not one divided into heaven and hell. The Torah talks of an afterlife called Sheol, a shadowy place down in the center of the earth, where all souls go to without judgment. Just kind of hang out there, I guess. Probably pretty crowded down there with all the Muslim waiting for Judgment Day. Now, the Hindus have a very complicated afterlife. Most believe that humans are in a cycle of death and rebirth called samsara. When a person dies, their Atman is reborn in a different body. Sometimes it happens immediately at death, and sometimes you're reborn and exist in another realm. Yes, complicated, and it involves a lot of animals and plants and space and time. But you hang out in heaven occasionally with one of their 3 million gods, which is kind of cool. Now, the Mormons believe that when you die, you are separated from your body and you just hang out a while until you're resurrected and put back into a perfected body, and then you live forever depending on how you're judged. There's always judgment, That's where they get you. They aren't clear on where your new home will be, though. There is this one African religion, the Mende, that is very interesting. They think you die twice. Ouch. The first time is when you're joining some secret society which moves you from adolescence to manhood or womanhood. I call it the rite of passage, but these folks call it death. The second time is your biological death, and that's when you become an ancestor, which means you're dead usually, but with the Mende you can live 10 consecutive lives, so you're an ancestor. And, well, still alive and among the living. I'm kind of liking that one too. Now, the Unitarians believe there's no hell and that everyone is saved one way or the other. So no flames, no torment, just heaven. Unitarians are pretty peaceful people, you know. Now, the spiritualists, you ever heard of them? The spiritualists believe that the afterlife consists of 9 realms that are tied into the 9 planets of astrology. Each planet is a realm and has a different meaning like love, creativity, and so on and so forth. Saturn, Mercury, Venus, they're all realms. I'm not sure what Pluto is anymore since it's now considered a dwarf planet. There is one famous spiritualist out there that we all kind of know. Then there is Wicca. Wicca is made up of witches. The Wiccans believe in Summerland. In Summerland, souls rest, recuperate, and reflect on experiences they had during their life. After a while, not sure how long, but after a while, the souls are reincarnated and the memory of their previous lives are erased. Okay, this next one I've heard of, the Zoroastrians, who follow Zoroastrianism. Something like that, Zoroastrianism. The name alone is pretty neat. Just kind of hard to pronounce. Zoroastrianism is the world's oldest monotheistic religion and has influenced most of the other world religions like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. It was around long before those 3. The most famous Zoroastrian was Freddie Mercury. 3,000 years ago, Zoroastrianism was the Western world's most dominant religion and could be found from Russia through Greece and the Middle East, including Persia, where it was founded. They were the first to believe in just one deity. Today, there are less than 200,000 followers who are mostly in Iran and India. In America, there's about 30,000 followers. We pretty much believe in anything here. Okay. As a Zoroastrian, when you die, you hang out on Earth for 3 days on the Tower of Silence. Well, your body does, because you're just rotting up there and having your eyes gouged out by buzzards. For the righteous souls of this ancient religion, the beautiful maiden Dana appears. For the wicked people, the very old and ugly naked hag Visersa appears. Either way, you get a woman, so I'm guessing this is kind of a male-dominated religion. For the wicked person, they are taken over the Shinvet Bridge and are made to go into the darkness. And for the people hanging out with the beautiful maiden, they hang out on Earth as a spirit and are dependent on their family to feed them and put some clothes on them. They call that paradise. I'm not quite sure why. Sounds like hell to me. I hope the Zoroastrians hang in there. They've been around a long time, but there's only a couple 100,000 of them left. Then there is the egocentric theory. According to the followers of Salopianism, you are the only person who exists, and the entire universe is just your imagination. So when you die, the universe will no longer exist. This is perfect for those narcissists out there. And you know who you are. This one's good, the Rastas. For the Rastas, also known as the Rastafarians, heaven corresponds to Ethiopia. That's right, when you die, you are reborn in Ethiopia. So, if you're a good person, when you die, you'll find yourself in a third world country. Rastafarianism is relatively new, started like in 1935, but growing very fast among communities that embrace the use of marijuana. The roots of this are from Jamaica, and according to this religion, the once emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, was their god incarnate. So, one would have thought that when Selassie had died in 1975, the religion would have died with it, but nope, it's still going strong, and they still like their pot. Jainism is like one of the most interesting ones I ran across. It's all about bad karma. They have lots of gods and you're reincarnated a whole bunch. To the 4 or 5 million followers of this religion, when you die, you are liberated, but not entirely. If you don't experience this liberation due to bad karma, you might have to go through 8 hells of suffering before rebirth. This religion is obviously primarily in India. Jainists are vegetarians, of course. They condone violence and their monks go naked. The women aren't wearing a lot either, but they do take good care of animals, which is nice. Unlike the other groups who are into one heaven and one hell, the Jainists are into a whole bunch of them. Each one of these hells gets colder at each stage and your soul passes through a lot of torture before getting another opportunity of rebirth. The good news, though, that is if you make it to this final liberation, which seems to take a while, there is an ending. Well, you're born and you die over 8 million times before all of this ends. But if you make it to the liberation, you become a god. So you have that going for you. I'm thinking that 4 to 5 million followers, they can't all be wrong, can they? They may be on to something. Alright, so what does Road Trip Joe believe happens to you when you die? Well, I have no idea what happens to you when you die, but I'm pretty sure about what's going to happen to me. I think I'm going to be reincarnated in the future, and I'm going to be this. Or whatever else I want to be. Alright, that's all I got.
When the night comes crawling and I'm all alone, I head for the highway, baby, to please my restless bones, my restless bones, restless bones. I should try harder to please you. I'm not the man I wanna be, yeah. But my weak soul is letting me down. Babe, don't be so hard on me. Don't be so hard. Don't be so hard. Can I stay in the darkness? I am drawn to the light. I wanna rest in the arms of an angel and be safe and warm tonight. Are you still mad at me, baby?
Hey, Joe here. Thanks for watching this episode of Road Trip Joe. I watched it a few times. You know, I have to watch it you only have to watch my stuff once. I have to watch it several times before I put it up. And it hit me. It's like, God, I hope I'm not offending anybody out there. I have people watch my sites that I don't know. So don't be offended by this. This was all in fun. I've always been fascinated with, why people believe what they believe. I'm not going to say everything's black and white to me, but, it's kind of like I usually need a little proof before I decide to jump off that cliff with everybody else. Maybe I should start my own religion. There's only 4,200 of them out there, organized ones, actually. And let's see, what would it be? The Book of Joe? No. How about the Road Trip Chapel? Hey, I kind of like that. And no, I'm not coming back as a fly. That would be hell. See you later.